I have a lot of anxious energy, and I was like, oh, will it print properly? Because I don't have one of these like slidey cutting things because I'm a peasant. Everything worked out. Hello and welcome. My name's Shirley. I'm here to expose some industry secrets. Now, I'm just a small creator sharing my life as a small artist. Today we'll talk about enamel pens, where I'll show you how you go from this to this. I'll talk about where you can get them made, just what the entire process is like timeline-wise, how much it costs, and how you can package them for sale. And I'll do all of this using a real-life example that I went through. So what do you need to have in order to make an enamel pen? Well, first of all, you have to have your design. I use Procreate, but you can use whatever drawing medium that you like. And then what you want to do is take that design and vectorize that in Illustrator. So I use Illustrator where I have two layers. One layer is the outline of all the metal parts of the enamel pen, and the other layer is the actual artwork. You might be really fancy and split it by different colors. Each color is on a layer, but either way, having a vectorized format is helpful because sometimes the manufacturers would want that. So in my case, I had my Procreate design file, and then I had a Illustrator file, and I also exported that as a PDF for my manufacturers. And typically at this stage when you're designing enamel pens, there are some other things you might want to think about. For example, do you want screen printing? As in, do you want different colors to be all separated by metal? Do you want them to flow onto one another without having the metal separate them? What kind of metal backing do you want? Do you want to do hard enamel? Do you want to do soft enamel? Do you want to back stamp, etc.? Because that could also affect the number of files you need for your design. But typically that's the easy part, is coming up with the idea and actually designing it. Finding manufacturers where most people stop because it's too difficult. So I'll talk about a couple of manufacturers that I looked into. So the first manufacturer I talked to was Alchemy Merch. It was a super easy process where I kind of filled out what I wanted on their website, and then someone followed up with me basically telling me this is how much it's going to cost, and they were super nice. I mean, they were like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm super excited to work with you. They explained to me the different options I had for the design that I wanted, and they gave me a quote. So I'll read you that quote. I'll show you that quote right now. So I had two designs. One is my orange tabby cat pen, and the other one is my tuxedo cat pen. I wanted 1.25 inch, basically smaller than 1.5 inch, and I wanted about 50 each, but I was also curious how much it would cost to make 100. So if I wanted 50 pens of 50 of each design, that would be $653, which was definitely very expensive for me because that's basically over $6 per pen. So I was a little hesitant. Yeah, but I mean, they were super nice and they followed up. They showed me examples of the things that they did. So I think, if you're someone who's very hesitant and you really want to be guided through the process, it's your first time making enamel pens, I can see how they can be super appealing. But for me, it was a little outside of my budget. The second manufacturer I looked into was Galaxy Design. Very similar to Alchemy Merch. They had a website where you could go on and just kind of upload your design and choose the backing and all the details. And then I think they actually take it to the next level. They basically send you this online proof, so you can visualize what the pen would look like through the proof. And that is also the quote, as well as how much each thing kind of costed. And through the same portal, you're able to leave comments and make revisions on the design. The estimated subtotal for the same two designs, 50 pens each, was $604, so it was a little cheaper than Alchemy Merch, but they also gave me a $30 multi-pen discount. So that came down to $573.80, which is a lot better already. but it was still pretty expensive. And I think it makes sense because I think both of these companies are probably based in the US. You're also paying for like the convenience of all these, like interactive tools they have, these reps who work with you and like answer all your questions, these amazing proofs that they give you. And I think just like the level of customer service and convenience and just like friendly nature of the entire process. But for me, I really wanted something that was a little bit more affordable, especially because it was my first time making enamel pins. I didn't want to spend, hundreds of dollars making this and then have it not sell. I don't know if what I did was really the right thing, but basically I went on Alibaba and I contacted a bunch of manufacturers kind of like over the months. I wasn't like fully committed to the idea, but once I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I went on Alibaba and just looked through the manufacturers and just picked one that didn't look super sus. I'll show you the example that I sent so that you can kind of visualize what that process is like. So basically I chose someone that I thought was okay. I clicked into their page and I clicked start chat. And in the chat I said this. I was basically like, hello, this is the pen I'm interested in, 1.25 inch. These are my 2 designs. I wanted about 50 each. I'm curious what the estimated shipping is to where I live, and what is the lead time? So how long will it take for you to produce all of my pins? I'm going to give you the entire timeline from when I first reached out to this manufacturer to until when I received my pins. So on April 5th, I reached out with my first message, and then the same day, they gave me the quote of $217.50, which includes shipping. I was like, okay. I mean, ideally, I should have gone around and asked more people and like compared, but I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just do this. So then the next day, on April 6th, I asked about the specific backing plate colors they had and asked for more examples of pins that they've produced in the past, just to make sure that they had all the options I wanted. I didn't have a lot of fancy requirements, like I didn't want a back stamp, I didn't want screen printing or anything like that. It's a very simple pin because it was my first time doing it. On April 7th, I finished up my designs. So I sent them a PDF file and my Illustrator files, and then the same day I paid the money. The next day, April 8th, they sent me a proof of my 2 designs, and I gave the approval saying, yep, it looked good. I asked some questions about, the colors. So what they did was they actually like picked the, Pantone colors for me based on my digital design, which was nice, because I don't own one of those like Pantone booklets to pick the right colors for myself. I was like, okay, I just hope this works out. So I approved that. And then they told me that production would be about 15 to 20 days. They said immediately after I approved, they will begin production. But I didn't really hear anything for a while. So April 8th was when I gave the final approval. And then I didn't hear anything for over a week. So on April 17th, I sent a quick message to my rep saying, hey, I'm just checking, are they in production? She said they're still in production. April 28th, I checked in again saying, hey, are they done yet? Because by this point, it's been basically 20 days exactly. And she said they just finished and they're polishing them off. So then the next day, she contacted me again saying, hey, they're done, they're all polished. And then they sent me photos of the actual product just so that I can have one last look before they package and ship them off. And really hats off to my manufacturer because they were actually going to go on holiday the next day. So she was also like in a hurry to finish them and make sure that she gets my approval so she can just ship it out the day of. So I made sure to get back to her immediately when I saw the message. And the same day, they were shipped out. So April 29th, they were shipped out. And then May 4th, I received them. So that was about 5 days. So super fast. I'm so used to doing a lot of group orders with people. It usually takes, weeks for everyone to get their files in and have everything finalized and then have all the proofs done, and then production will be another, chunk of time. So yeah, this whole thing being a month, I was really, really impressed. I was also really impressed by the quality of the pens themselves. I was very ready to have, a bunch of B-grade pens, a bunch of like random colors spilled over, like bumpy parts. But I mean, so far I've only packaged like less than half, like half of them. Yeah, half of the 50. They have all been really good so far. In summary, with my manufacturer, I paid $217.50 for 100 pens split across 2 designs. The pens were 1.25 inch in size. So that's about $2.17 per pen, which I'm very happy with. Please let me know if they're supposed to be cheaper. Like, I honestly don't know what the expected price is supposed to be, but I was pretty happy with $2.17. It took 1 month from me reaching out to the manufacturer to actually getting the products at my doorstep. Specifically, it took 3 days from my initial contact to start of production, and then 21 days for production and 5 days for shipping. So now let me talk a little bit about what I did after I received my package. I wanted to sell my pens on a backing card. I didn't get a backing card with my manufacturer. I didn't ask if they offered. So my pens came in these individual little plastic bags, and I designed a backing card in Procreate, and then I printed out the backing cards at home on cardstock paper, and then just literally cut them out by hand because I don't have one of these like slidey cutting things because I'm a peasant. But I really should get one for the future because yeah, it took a long time. But yeah, and I just like poked them into the backing cards at home. It was actually very simple, and here they are. I'm like very happy with how they turned out. I don't know if you can see. I'll add them on later maybe. Super cute. I don't know if it's weird saying that your own products are super cute, but I'm super happy with how they turned out. It really worked out. I have a lot of anxious energy, and I was like, oh, will it print properly? Like, will they get to me on time? Like, will my pens be okay? But I think everything worked out, and I'm really happy with how they are. I'm gonna sell them in person next week, so we'll see how they do. But I'm happy with how they are. Yeah, some final thoughts. Everything was faster, easier, and cheaper than I expected, and the quality was better than I expected on Alibaba. So I'm super happy with that. I think I will definitely use them again for pens if I make more in the future. Color matching is really hard. My tuxedo cat pen, I did realize like the cream color I chose was a little bit more yellow than I would have liked. So I do see the appeal of getting like the actual Pantone books to make sure that your pens are okay. Cause like it really is a bummer, like if you spend all this money on pens and they come to you and you realize it's a little off. Like even through the pictures that the manufacturer sent me, the colors looked okay, but it's a little bit different, right? Like seeing something on a screen versus seeing it in person. So if you want to do this a lot in the future, I probably will invest in some sort of like Pantone color book myself. One regret I have, and that was an afterthought, is not getting a back stamp on my enamel pins, because I realized that like people probably, take the pins off of the backing card, which has my like logo and information, and then they might just forget what this pin is from. So I think for my future pins, I will have like a little back stamp. For those of you who don't know what back stamps are, it's basically like on the back of the pins, there's like a little engraved kind of stamped in thing that shows like your social media handle or something, just so people like remember who the pin is from. So I might do that for next time. And finally, I think, this entire process took me a while to get there. And what I mean by that is I've been selling prints and stickers and a bunch of other merch as well over the past year. And enamel pins has always been something that has always scared me because they seemed so complicated and they seemed like more financial investment. I was just very uncomfortable and anxious when I thought about enamel pins, even though I really wanted to make them. Yeah, I think taking the leap from like completely flat 2D designs to making like 3D merch, even though this is kind of like 2.5D merch, I know that can be really daunting. I'm really happy that I did it. I know that you can do it too. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, or not, that's fine. Bye.